I'll answer the question that was asked just before I lost the mic about uh, my invasion. But first, I'd like to give you a little bit of history, some of which you may well know. General George Marshall was Chief of Staff for President Roosevelt. He wanted to lead the invasion. Roosevelt told him, no, I need you here. Help me pick somebody else for the job. So together, they recommended Dwight Eisenhower, who had a good record under MacArthur as a logistics man and overall coordinator. So they did pick Dwight Eisenhower to head it. Montgomery, the British general, wanted to lead the invasion. Roosevelt told Winston Churchill, since we are one of the major contributors, my man is going to do it. So Montgomery ended up on the staff of the planning staff for the invasion, along with Eisenhower. Originally, there was 3 targets that they were going to use for the invasion. Of course, the Americans were going to be Omaha, the original one, the British Sword, and the Canadians at Juneau in between. Montgomery recommended let's spread the German defense over a wider area. So they added 2 more invasion beaches, 1 more for the Americans and 1 more for the Canadians. So they ended up with the 5 invasion beaches, 2 of them American, Utah and Omaha. So the original planning, anticipating that it would be clear, the Army asked that the Air Force fly the full length of the invasion beach, dropping bombs to create oversized foxholes as craters along the beach, as well as hitting the German defenses, machine guns, light artillery, all along the beach. The Air Force, Army Air Force rejected that. They said the German ground fire would be so deadly that if we flew the full length of the invasion beach, probably no other planes would come out the other end. So they said, no, we will bomb coming in at right angles to the thing. Well, the bad weather at the time canceled both of those proposals. So we flew on Pathfinder. We were supposed to bomb the beach, scheduled to bomb the beach at 6:30 in the morning. The troops were supposed to hit the beach at 7:30. And on Pathfinder at the time, it was not nearly as accurate as our present day GPS. So there was 4,000 Higgins boats coming in, bringing troops, and the Pathfinder, to avoid any possibility of dropping bombs among the invasion boats coming in, delayed the drop probably a couple seconds. Our speed, we covered about 100 yards every second. So coming in at right angles, we dropped on Pathfinder through the clouds, had no idea, just hoped that they were landing in the right place. We didn't find out until later. I'm going to jump ahead now. I went over on the 50th anniversary, and my host there in Normandy, Frenchman, hired a light plane, and we toured up and down the beach. And you could see all the bomb craters, even though they were grown over with grass, brush and so on, 200 to 250 miles inland from the very beach. And talking to some of the troops at the time during their 50th anniversary, they said, we were told that, don't worry, you'll have plenty of protection on the beach with all the bomb craters. Said, what a crock that was. So they had to struggle with it. Well, our first two missions, first one at 6:30, we dropped through the clouds on Pathfinder. Second mission, the same thing, later in the day around noontime. Toward the end of the day, we had a report that the Germans had a flat car train loaded with tanks and armor about 10 miles inland from Utah Beach. So we were assigned to take out the train with all the armor and tanks on it. And so the weather was starting to break up at that point. So we came in at 10,000 feet. This had to be a visual bombing. And we couldn't see a thing. We circled back out over the ocean, came back in around 5,000 feet, still couldn't see a thing. Went out once more and come back around 2,000 feet, and the clouds were starting to break up, but we still couldn't get a visual on the target. So we once more went out, come back just below the base of the clouds at 500 feet, and prepared to drop low. The train was not in the rail yard. Either they had backed it out or never made it in, we don't know. But we could see it. It was a mile and a half, 2 miles outside of the rail yard itself. We dropped our bombs as we crossed the rail yard, and we tore up the rail yard pretty well, but we did not get the train. But at 500 feet, a number of our planes ended up getting holes from the fragments of our own bombs. So we radioed in to where the target was, and with the idea that fighters should go in with rockets and skip bombs and so on. I don't know. We never did get a report whether they took care of it or not, but those were my 3 missions on D-Day. That was the only time I flew 3 missions. On occasion we flew 2 after that, or during my tour, but that was the only time we flew 3. Now, any questions?
You said at Omaha, the bombs were, how far did you miss the beach?
Say again?
How far did your bombs miss the beach because you delayed 1 or 2 seconds?
Yes.
How far?
Like I said, the bomb craters from our bomb were a couple hundred yards inland from the beach.
200 yards.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Which did not do the landing troops any good at all.